everyone, Jacqueline Jensen here, and I'm the founder and COO of TicketCake.com. We were one of the first companies to relocate to downtown Las Vegas to be part of Zappos CEO Tony Hsieh's $350 million revitalization of downtown Las Vegas. We've been here a bit over a year, my team and I, and we've really been embraced by the Vegas tech community and loving every minute. This will be our third episode of the Young Female Entrepreneurs Vegas Tech Edition, and I'll be streaming live the first and third Wednesday of each month. And today I'm coming to you live from the Innovation Center. And the Innovation Center is a really cool place to come and co-work and meet other startups. And our startup oftentimes works out of this space. If you have any interest in coming to visit this project and maybe get a free co-working pass for a day, send me an email, jackie@ticketcake.com, or you can also tweet me at Jackie M. Jensen. Now, Young Female Entrepreneurs, for those of you who don't know, is an online platform that connects entrepreneurial women in their 20s and 30s with new people, brands, and headlines that help them start and grow businesses. The mission is to help young women on their path to profitable businesses while building a collective reputation that's philanthropic, successful, multifaceted, and collaborative. Now, I first got introduced to young female entrepreneurs via the founder and the live stream host, Jennifer Dono. At 28, she was featured as a champion of change by the White House for her work with young female entrepreneurs and FASTCO in the Change Generation series. We met at a women's leadership conference over in Seattle in March, and she was actually speaking before me at the conference. We became friends, and when she brought to me the idea to bring what Young Female Entrepreneurs was doing to the Vegas tech community, I was thrilled to be part of it. So thank you for tuning in. Now today we have an awesome guest with us. Leslie, in 2006, founded Hot Skillet Productions, a marketing and public relations agency specializing in all things food, beverage, and music related. Among Hot Skillet's first clients were restaurant industry powerhouses Paul Fleming and Outback Steakhouse. Hot Skillet Productions has grown to become a full-service agency, providing digital and traditional marketing support to custom tailored to the food and beverage industry. From brand videos, website design, public relations, logo design, email campaigns, SEO, SEM, and branded social media content, Hot Skillet gets it done for clients on a budget, on time, and on target. Leslie is awesome. Her Twitter handle is @HotSkillet, and she's become a friend and mentor to me, and I wanted to welcome her to the Young Female Entrepreneurs live stream so she can talk about Google Analytics with you and how you can use it for your startup. Thanks for joining us, Leslie.
Thank you.
So my first question for you is, what does it mean to be a Google Engage agency? Hot Skillet is a Google Engage agency, and for those who don't know, what does that mean?
A Google Engage agency is basically, it formalizes my relationship with Google. So I do AdWords on behalf of a bunch of my restaurant clients, and they provide a support system for me, a live person, not an internet connection, which I'm having trouble with today. Sorry about that, people. They provide ongoing training, regional seminars, just any kind of support that you would need that we've traditionally gotten in traditional media is now available on Google Engage. So it's really been a great resource for me to A, have the endorsement of Google behind me, and B, just get that training. We all need training. Things change every day. In fact, there was a change to the interface for analytics yesterday I haven't even caught up with, but I will. So it's just a great resource for me. It's one of the best things I've done. Obviously, they've taken a great interest in my business and what I do and produced that great video. I didn't pitch for that video. They just saw what I was doing, and we spoke at one of our regional conferences, and they said, we're really interested in featuring how small businesses like yours can really make use of the platform and operate essentially like a bigger business. So
and you've done those trainings at Google's headquarters, right? What was that experience like?
Well, first of all, the food situation there is delightful. They feed you all the time. So any kind of business where it's focused around feeding you anything you want at any time of day, after that, everything's just gravy.
Totally.
So, so yes, I went to their headquarters mostly to film that video, but also just to meet with some of the marketing people that are working on the small business side of AdWords, and just kind of tell them what I do and give them ideas about how they can support us to the fullest. I honestly, and I'm not being paid by Google or anything. I honestly didn't have much feedback for them because they're doing more than the average online company is doing. So I feel like it's really been a great resource for me, and it's at no cost to me. Absolutely no cost. The only investment is your time and your motivation. I mean, however much you want to learn is available for you. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Well, and for those of you out there watching, I will shoot out a link on Twitter to the video that Leslie's talking about. We may have been able to show some clips of it, but to see the full thing, I will make sure to tweet it out after this episode so you guys can watch it. It's a really well done video, and it explains a lot about what Leslie does on a daily basis and how she is interacting with the people at Google. So my second question for you, Leslie, is why do you think that startups are intimidated by Google Analytics? I talked to other founders, and most founders are aware of Google Analytics, but there's a little bit of an intimidation factor there when you go beyond the basics. And why do you think that is?
Well, when you're starting up a company, there's so much to think about: where you're going to get your money, who's going to be part of your company, who's going to be your mentor, does the product work, how to make the product work, what's the technology. There's so many things coming at you just at a breakneck pace that it's understandable that just adding another component of data to your sort of everyday, agenda seems overwhelming. And if you're not familiar with the interface, when you look at, numbers and bounce rates and, all this sort of technical jargon, it can seem pretty overwhelming. The good news is it's really not. There are some components of analytics that are built in that are pretty sophisticated. And, I think one of the main points I want to make today is not to let that part intimidate you. There's plenty of that interface that I don't know either. And a lot of, though Google has provided online training for me, a lot of my analytics knowledge is just trial and error and just, doing it intuitively myself and experimenting and working with my programmers when we're installing the analytics into the database, into our website, that we're installing them properly. So I think that's why startups kind of feel like, why do I need to add another piece of data to my equation? And my pushback to that is that it's kind of a great validation for what you're doing online, especially if you're an online company or any company that has a website. It's, hey, this is who I'm trying to reach. And you go into analytics and you can actually really see if you're reaching those people. So, I think that, like I said, it's just data overload, but I'm here today, hopefully, to dispel some of those myths.
Very cool. Well, along those same lines, if there were 5 metrics in Google Analytics that you think every startup should keep tabs on, what would they be?
Well, first of all, I would pay attention. Slide 1. I would pay attention to how many people are visiting. What's your website traffic? How many people are looking at your site on a daily basis and on a monthly basis? That's just sort of the fundamentals. And actually, it is a little bit surprising that a lot of people, and I don't know what the mix is, but anecdotally, probably it's a 50-50 mix of clients and just people that I come across that know what their website traffic is. So know what your traffic is. Know if you're getting 2 visits a day, or know if you're getting 79,000 visits a day. Those are very important pieces to know. If you're getting 2 visits a day, you want to start working on building traffic to your website. If you're getting 79,000 visits a day, you want to kind of understand who those visitors are, how they're interacting with your site, and what they're doing when they get there. Part of the visits and sort of the overview of the website traffic is a couple other key metrics within that. One of them is a bounce rate. And a bounce rate is something that is a one-page visit. So it's somebody who has landed on your website through a search or has gone directly and exited off the same page. So, I have a question coming up in a little bit about bounce rate and zero time on site, and there's some important things to know about bounce rate. But typically, obviously, you want a low bounce rate, and that bounce rate is calculated as a percentage. So it's the percentage of people that visit your website that leave after just one page visit. So,
and
yeah,
Leslie,
go ahead.
just to jump in, a question that I had when I was learning about bounce rate. Well, what if it's a blog post and they want to go to get the information and they leave after that? Is there more to the bounce rate calculation?
Yes, there is. And I'm glad you asked that. That was a question that was coming up. So you trumped me a little bit. Let's go over that now because that's an important thing to know. So if you have a blog page and someone lands on your site and spends 2.5 minutes reading your page and all of your information is on your homepage, if they exit off the homepage and take no other action, like they don't click on a sub page or any other page on the website, you get absolutely no credit. And this is a fall down on Google's part, but I'm going to tell you about a fix. You get absolutely no credit for that visit. So it'll say zero. We had a question from one of the Twitter sphere about this very thing. Like, I've got 20 visits and I've got zero time on site. And I took a look at her site, and she's got a lot of information on her homepage. Probably as much information as you're going to need if you're going to go explore her brand. And so chances are she's getting credit for the visit, but 100% bounce rate because they're not doing any action after they're looking on her site. So what happens is when you land on your homepage, the clock starts running, but Google doesn't timestamp it until you take another action. So until you go to a second page, that's when the clock. So if I'm spending 2 minutes and 30 seconds on the homepage and I click to another page, that's when I will get my credit for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, if I only spend if I spend 5 minutes on the second page and leave.
Hi, Jen. So it looks like we lost our connection with Leslie, but I'm going to show you the video from her Google agency ad that she did. It wasn't really an ad, actually. It was more just like a promotion of what her company does through the eyes of a Google ad agency. So I want you guys to watch that. You'll love it. Enjoy.
My name is Leslie, and I am founder and president and chief bottle washer for Hot Skillet Productions. Most of my clients, because it's the restaurant industry, don't have e-commerce sites. So how do you track conversions, and how do you make those decisions about conversions that don't have an actual dollar value attached to them? The Engage training event in San Francisco was a perfect place to meet with like-minded agencies and share stories. The questions we were asking of the seminar leaders were questions that our clients would ask us. Sometimes you learn something, you think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm just now learning. I mean, it was so obvious, and then you feel kind of like a knucklehead, and then you look around and realize, oh, you're not alone. Like, everybody, was kind of nodding their head, like, oh yeah. Engage formalizes my relationship with Google a little bit more. They can kind of see what I'm doing now and kind of understand and provide me a more customized, sort of set of tools. I have such a passion for the restaurant industry because, well, I'm Italian and I love to eat, and I just love the community. They know that I can help them grow their business. I can take care of all the things they don't want to, think about. While they're serving the guest, I worry about all the other stuff. That makes you look like a hero to your clients.
Hi, everyone. It's Jacqueline Jensen here, and it looks like we lost our connection with Leslie. She's the best, so feel free to tweet her at Hot Skillet. Any questions you have about Google Analytics. I'm going to go over a bit of her slides right now on air, and so you can see what she was going to talk about without all the commentary, so I'm sure she would have a lot to add. But then we'll also put these slides on youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com, so you can take a look, and it's great. She put together screenshots, and so you can see exactly the metrics that she's talking about, and this is in response to what 5 startup metrics should startups be looking at in their Google Analytics that they may be missing. Yeah, and we have Leslie back. Okay, so we're actually going to wait till we grab Leslie back. Leslie, you're back.
I'm back.
Perfect. Okay, so we were talking about bounce rate, which was actually jumping ahead a bit, so I'm sorry about that, to a question from Michelle, Mojo Handybags. She asked it on Twitter. So hopefully that answers your question, Michelle. Another question I had just quickly, what is the difference, or can you just define visits, page views, and unique visitors? Because sometimes those can get a little confusing if you've never looked at Google Analytics.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you asked that question, and let's pray to the internet gods that I stay online. I feel like I have a 1990s connection right now. So visits, overall visits. So there's overall visits and unique visits. Overall visits is how many times people have come to your website. Unique visits is the first time somebody has come to your website. So really, when we as marketers try to measure our success, we really kind of go after uniques, because you're trying to build your audience and reach new people. So the uniques are people that have not been to your site before. The total number is the combination of it all. The number of people that haven't been to your site and the number of people that have been to your site multiple times, or, one time, two times, more than. So it's the aggregate of that all. Was there a third question?
Page views.
Oh, page views.
Yeah.
Page views is the number of pages that people visit when they visit your site. So if they only visit one page, your bounce rate is going to be pretty high. If they, so you're looking for 2 and above. Obviously, if you have a lot of content on your site, you want people to visit as many pages as possible, because that shows interest in your brand and they're learning about your brand. So,
Awesome.
I think like 4 page views and up is a great metric to shoot for it, but it's just very dependent on what your business is and what kind of content you have.
Okay, cool. Do you want to go to the next slide?
Sure. Let me just do.
With your highest traffic days.
Yeah, and go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying it was interesting, but I'll let you talk about how interesting it is.
Well, well, this is probably most interesting. Well, it's interesting for a lot of ways. Generally speaking, I work in the restaurant segment. Fridays are a big day for us. That's usually our highest traffic days. People are, ready to go out and have a margarita, like I'm going to be after this internet connection thing. But they want to. But it's interesting to know if you're planning on sending out a message that you want new people to see, or want the broadest audience possible. So if on Friday your internet traffic spikes double, then if you have an important announcement, that's the best way to get it to the broadest group of people, is to broadcast that message on your website. It's a press release, it's a new product, it's a new menu item, is to post that on a Friday. And it's also just interesting to see how, it's just part of sort of the whole overall online behavioral, statistics that are just interesting about your company. If you sell shoes, why does everybody buy shoes on Wednesday? Maybe you have a sale on Wednesday and everything goes on the market on Wednesday. And so that's why they're visiting your site more on a Wednesday than they are any other day of the week.
Great. And so our production's on the same page. Now we are on referral traffic. So we're talking about knowing who's sending you the most traffic, and so you can make the best decisions. And Leslie, I'll let you jump into that one.
Yeah, so referral traffic is actually one of my favorite metrics. I actually just used it in a meeting today in San Francisco with one of my clients. It tells you where your traffic is coming from that is not direct traffic or traffic through search. So if like for instance, the restaurant industry, our biggest referrer, if you know what you're doing, is Yelp. Yelp, 86% of people and up consult Yelp before they make a restaurant decision. So I want to know, so you want to know what kind of volume you're getting from these websites. If you're making advertising decisions, like, maybe an enhanced Yelp listing or an Urban Spoon enhanced listing or advertising, then then that really kind of validates that that's a good audience for you, because they're finding you on Yelp and they're going to learn more information from you from Yelp.
Okay.
So, and then, and you'll find all kinds of strange and interesting things if you dig through so I suggest, really pay attention to your top 10 referring sites and see how you might be able to boost some of that traffic from those as like a partnership site. Like I said, Yelp, you can expand your services. And then, it's just kind of an interesting way to kind of see maybe somebody wrote a blog post about you and thinks you're fabulous, but it didn't show up in your Google alerts. And you can see that you're getting a lot of traffic from, tasteofcookies.com.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. So the next slide talks about drilling down to secondary dimensions on referral traffic when you're ready to learn more. So can you speak to that a bit, Leslie?
Yeah, so when you're looking at your referral, and this is a little advanced and probably a little bit abstract to talk about, but there is a secondary dimension. So if you go and you open up and drill down into Yelp, for instance, and you want to know another dimension, like where in the country are people coming from when they click through Yelp and onto my site? And so you can enable a secondary dimension. It's at the top of your toolbar. That says secondary dimension, and it gives you the hang on, let me just pull that up. It gives you the options: visitors, the type of visitors, the source, meaning where that traffic came from. We already know it's Yelp, so we don't really need that. But it's kind of interesting to see in this example that's on the slide. Most of the traffic from Yelp is coming from the Los Angeles market. So you can kind of start to segment down and really drill down on information that's top level. Get down. They only have a secondary dimension that I know of in the new interface. I didn't hear of any updates. I would love to have a third dimension.
Yeah.
That sounds like a song from the 80s, but But yeah, I find it really useful and fascinating just to kind of help understand too, just one more level of information for marketers or a company to understand where their traffic's coming from.
Well, and for startups, something that we do for a lot of these reports, you can also add the e-commerce information.
Yes.
So you can see how much business on your online site is coming from certain areas.
Yes.
It's endless. You could really dive in all day long. But I love doing that e-commerce portion too. So the next slide talks about checking intelligence events overview for the site well-being.
Yes. I don't feel like this metric is used enough, or this tool is used enough, and I use it to really diagnose if there's a problem on my website. So the red bars indicate something that is alert and then not necessarily a good thing. And if you're looking at that slide 6, then you will see that we've got some red bars and we've got a green bar. And it'll tell you what it does. What analytics is doing is it's traveling down the road, kind of getting used to your pattern of business. And when something seems different, like a huge spike in a landing page, from Yelp or from the San Francisco Chronicle, then and all of a sudden your traffic, if you're used to your traffic being 2,000 visits a day and your traffic goes up to 6,000 visits a day, that'll get recorded in your events overview. And you can also set up an alert to have Google send you an email if something really becomes out of whack. Now, in that case, if all of a sudden you see a link from the San Francisco Chronicle and your visits go up for 4,000 a day, and it turns out that you have maybe a review or a blogger or somebody within the San Francisco Chronicle website that's talking about you and linking to you, and people are taking an action and going to your site. So it could be good, it could be bad. I like to think of it as good if San Francisco Chronicle is sending you 4,000 visits.
Yeah.
And so, that's really a great way to find that out. Or if you have a page that's down, if your menu page and you're a restaurant, it'll say your visits to your menu page, we expect you to have 2,000 today, and you have 0. Well, that tells you that your page there's probably something wrong with your actual website page, and you better get in there and get it worked out. And the other caveat to that, and this is not really necessarily related to analytics, but I always tell clients and everybody, always look at your web as much as you can. Go on your website and look at it and make sure it's working, and use all your browsers. Use Safari, use Mozilla, use Chrome. Use all the browsers render things differently. So if you just do a quick check, just a quick run through of all your pages on your website and all your browsers, just to make sure everybody's grooving, it's a good practice.
Cool. And I'm going to jump over to the chat room really quick and just fill you in on what people are saying. Ledge Dancer on Twitter is saying, Hot Skillet is the queen of Google for business. Can't wait to learn more. And at Jane Carlson is saying, at Hot Skillet, can't wait to hear your advice today. So hopefully you guys are hearing some awesome things. We also have the Innovation Center on the stream, which is the facility I'm at right now, streaming live, saying that it's a great podcast and a great live stream. So that's exciting. We'll jump to the next slide. And this is one I've geeked out on quite a bit, our team at Ticket Cake. So it's understanding mobile traffic and the divide.
Yes. I read the best quote yesterday, and I'm probably not going to do it justice, but essentially, we've all as marketers been saying, oh, well, the web is going to go mobile. Well, hello, people. It is mobile. We are mobile now. We're in the moment. So an incredibly staggering number of people do not have mobile optimized sites. If you've tried, up until, a couple weeks ago to Huffington Post and to scroll through, a slideshow there, it's virtually impossible to do it from a mobile device. And so if you don't have a mobile program going, go to your website analytics and understand how many people are looking at your website in a very dysfunctional way. So when you go to traffic type and your audience, there is a section called mobile, and it breaks down for you, and it does it on the screen, what kind of devices people are connecting to your website on. If they're on a desktop, if they're on a mobile device, and now they've broken out tablet. Historically speaking, tablets rolled into mobile, and it is considered mobile. It's kind of obviously a little bit of a hybrid, but know your mobile traffic, people. If anything, know how many people. So if you don't have a mobile optimized site and 50% of your web traffic is mobile, then you are compromising 50% of your customer base's experience, and therefore probably turning them off. Now, right now, it's so widespread, the fact that mobile is really not optimized, as a standard across the web, that, you just look like one of the others. But think about how awesome you can be if you have this stellar mobile experience and you're rocking it faster than anybody else in the industry. I mean, there's big daddy companies that do not have their mobile act together, and that either tells me they're not looking at the data or they don't understand the data. And it's right here. It tells you exactly what it is. 50% mobile, 50% desktop. 46,000 people are coming from mobile, 46,000 people are coming from desktop. I mean, hello, people. And 60%, it's, the projections are to be more, it's going to be the majority. And in most of my clients, I'm seeing that to be the case.
Great. That is great. This is why I love Leslie. Tells it to you, and I just love it. So the next slide, we have two more left. The first is about keywords are your friend.
Yes. If you are a company that is really dependent on your marketing and being discovered through the internet, keywords are your friend. If you want to enter in the best digital marketing agency into Google and have Hot Skillet Productions come up, then you really better understand that that's what's happening out there in the internet universe. So, on mine here, I gave you a snippet of mine. The first number is undefined. That means it's either Java.
Okay, so it looks like we lost Leslie, but luckily we are on to the last slide, which is one that I love so much. It's real-time analytics. I've seen people even tweet out how many visitors are on their site. Shout out to @Wedgies, love them. But it's really fun to see how many people are on your site, where they came from, where they're going, how they got there. And so real-time analytics, if you have not checked it out as a young female entrepreneur, is definitely something to take a look at in your Google Analytics. So with that, I'm going to close up the episode. We have our next episode on Wednesday, August 7th. It's at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And my guest is Sarah Evans. She's one of my favorite people in Las Vegas. Her Twitter handle is @PR Sarah Evans. And she will be sharing tons of stuff with us about how startups can get press and about her life and what she's up to. And I can't wait to have her on. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.